to the April 12th, 2021 Village of Tuckahoe Board of Trustees meeting. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the village clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Howell.
Present.
Trustee Taylor.
Present.
Trustee Cronin.
Present.
Mayor Andino.
Present. And since we have no appointments today, I'd like to start off by wishing our village clerk, Camille DeSalvo, a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Camille.
You're here.
We would sing, but we heard that you may not want us to, so we'll sing that to you later on. We do have a few presentations today. I first want to let everyone know that one of our residents, Anna Carapella, celebrated 100 years old and young, rather, on April 1st. I did visit her and presented her with a proclamation, so we want to acknowledge her 100 years here in Tuckahoe. Happy birthday to Anna Carapella once again. We also have a presentation by our superintendent of DPW regarding the annual municipal separate storm sewer systems report. So Frank, can you come up with that?
Thank you.
Could you hear? Okay. Okay, my presentation tonight is an MS4 presentation. And I'm going to slowly describe what MS4 really means. But under each and every road in the village of Tuckahoe, you have two parallel lines that run in different directions. Two mains. It's a sewer main and a stormwater main. There's two monstrous structures under our roads. They could be anywhere from 6 inches to 6 feet in diameter. And the sanitary sewer main, I'm going to start with the sanitary sewer main, is everything in a resident that is flush with the shower, toilet, and your sink. And what that does, it goes out into the sewer main, and believe it or not, it's gravity fed to Yonkers at the sewer treatment plant. And then we have a second main, which is called a stormwater main. And what that does is it catches all the rainwater at the curb basins. If you're walking along a street or a sidewalk, you'll see these basins that their main reason for being there is collecting rainwater. And where that goes is to any local waterway. And our local waterway is the Bronx River. So the MS4 requirement, what it does, it's an application that's filed annually with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And what they want to know is what we're doing every year to promote and educate everyone on how to maintain and keep our our stormwater lines free from pollutants, illicit discharge, any type of oils, colored vapors, chemicals, and what we're doing each year to maintain that. So each year I go to these outfalls that are just pipes that you might see along the Bronx River, and that's all the water that's collected in the catch basins that are led out to the Bronx River, and we have 7 of them, so I inspect them twice every year. And what we need to do is just educate everyone on what the purpose of this MS4 application is and what we do each year, whether it be handing out brochures, having a little film clip on our website, or whatever it might be. They just want to know what we're doing to educate everyone. We do have a mapping on our website, which is color-coded, and what that mapping does is you might find a catch basin out in front of your house. It's color-coded to tell you exactly, show you where in a waterway it's being led to. That's also very important because if we ever do have a spill, whether it be an oil spill or a toxic spill in one of the catch basins, we could determine right away which outfall it is so we could block it and prevent it from going into the river. This is something that Tuckahoe had developed within the past 10 years. Not too many municipalities have it, but Sandy Ray Garris worked diligently in putting this all together for us, so I give her kudos for that. We also have a questionnaire that I'd like everybody to answer. It's on our website under DPW, under Stormwater Management. And that's all I really have. Are there any questions? I'm supposed to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions. None? Okay. I just want to follow up that we're also having Bronx Rivers Clean Sweep, May 1st. It's organized by Erin Provenzano and Mike Dardano. And that's going to be at the Parkway Oval between 10 and 2 o'clock. I ask everybody to come and volunteer their services. What we do is we clean the riverbank and any floatables and any debris. It's been very successful. We're trying to have that every 6 months, and we're having it May 1st, which is a Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Next up, we'll have a public hearing to consider the tentative budget for fiscal year June 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2022. May I have a motion to open the hearing?
I'll make a motion.
So move.
Second.
In favor.
In favor.
In favor?
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor, and just so that the residents are aware, New York State law mandates that a hearing be open and closed by April 20th. We will have our budget adoption meeting next, is it 2 weeks from now? On Monday, April 26th. So that means that you can still provide us with your feedback if you have questions, concerns. This doesn't mean that at the end of this hearing you can't provide us with that. So we encourage you to. Before we go any further, David, could you give a summary of the budget?
I do have a PowerPoint to share with the group. So, as the mayor stated, per New York State law, the budget was filed with the clerk on March 19th. Needed to be filed prior to March 20th. The total budget, as proposed, is $13,737,004. Year over year, this represents an increase of expenditures by $540,000. The proposed tax rate increase, as set in the tentative budget, is 5.46%. The Tuckahoe specific tax cap is set at 4.27%. So the tentative budget, as filed by me, is over the tax cap. Now is up to the board to figure out if you want to exceed the tax cap, get under it, whatever you want to do at this point. I do have a way.
Can it be seen? Or
Yeah.
and this monitor here is not connected. Is that's like, we know that?
It's not working again?
No.
Yeah, that's another problem.
Okay,
Working on that.
it's okay.
So obviously the question is the homeowner impact. Home assessed at $500,000, which that equates to a $6,150 village assessment. The current taxes for this year was $3,568. As proposed, taxes would be $3,763. So a year-over-year increase of $195. And again, that's on a home assessed at $500,000. Definitely a lot of different varieties of homes in the village, so some more, some less, of course. As stated, the expenditure increase year over year is set at $540,000. Two main drivers of that. One is the debt service payment increase of nearly $200,000, and then pension payment increases, proposed increases of almost $140,000. So we talk about debt service payment increasing by $200,000. why. So the village sold a bond in February of 2021 of nearly $3.5 million. And this was at a rate of 1.15% over 14 years. I think we need to plug it again. 1.15% is a fantastic rate when it comes to municipal financing. I just saw that Bronxville sold a bond and it was over 1.15. I didn't want to say that, but the village administrator in Bronxville and I always joke about some of the rates and things like that. So 1.15 is one of the best rates I've actually seen, in quite some time. So very happy about that. Total payments for this bond are a little over $250,000 per year for the next 14 years. The village did have expiring debt of almost $55,000, so that brings us to the total year-over-year increase of almost $200,000. This represents 37% of the total increase expenditures from year over year. So we talked about increased expenditures of $540,000. This is one of the major cost drivers right there. So what did we get for that bond? I joke about, we always have Infrastructure Week in the national government. It was definitely Infrastructure Week in regards to the village of Tuckahoe this past year. A lot of projects in the works already and a lot of projects to get started on. Some of these are one of the big cost drivers, $700,000 in traffic signal upgrades. About 4 signals we're going to upgrade and probably go out to bid in the next couple of weeks. Street resurfacing of over $600,000, sidewalk upgrades of over $100,000, catch basin upgrades of $150,000, street lights for over $50,000, irrigation systems for a little over $25,000, windows at the community center $30,000, HVAC upgrades at all our buildings $270,000, library improvements a little over $140,000. Village Hall, flooring and bathrooms, $250,000. Playground upgrades, this is the Main Street Park and some safety upgrades in all our playgrounds, $240,000. Various vehicles in the municipality of $326,000. Upgrades to the police communication system of $300,000. Salt brine machine of $15,000. A soon-to-be started comprehensive plan of $117,000, and then a sewer maintenance plan of $51,000. So the village borrowed a significant amount of money, but there's a lot of projects here and a lot of things we're working on. So it's a really, really good investment into the community right there. So when we talk about developing the budgets from this budget year to next budget year is the revenue challenges that we're dealing with. And the biggest revenue challenge obviously is parking revenue year over year. It's really good to point out that in our budget, last year, a little over $1.3 million in parking revenue was budgeted. That is a large amount of non-property tax revenue right there, mostly from people outside of this community coming in and parking here. It's a significant number. As you can imagine, that number plummeted this year, and it is really hard to estimate that for next year. So in the proposed budget, it's a decrease of 20% in those lines. Again, that's commuter parking permits, long-term and short-term meters, a cut of 20% across the board. Don't know where we're going to be in 3 months, 6 months right now, but kind of our best guess at that point. And obviously, with less people parking is less kind of court fees and fines. The court was closed for several months this year due to COVID mandates in New York State, and we put a proposed revenue decrease of $70,000 in the tentative budget at this point. What assists us and what helps us is the recently passed American Rescue Plan Act, providing direct aid to municipalities. So our expected funding is a little over $710,000 over 2 years. Still waiting on final numbers in regards to that, still waiting on timing of some of that, but is it expected within 60 days that we would know a lot more about that? So in the tentative budget was included as $355,000. That's 2.5% of the budget right there. Without that funding, the proposed tax rate increase would have been 4.2% higher than it is right now, at 5.2% or 5.4 right now. So it would have been, nearly 10% right there. This was a big win for the village. It was going to significantly help us out over the next couple of years and figure out where we need to go. Something else that we always need to look at is the fund balance. That's the village's savings account. It was a little bit of a saving grace when it comes to the last year. We talk about rainy day funds. It was raining the last year. We know that we needed to dip into this fund. So as of May 31st, 2021, The fund balance was $2.3 million, which represents 17.5% of the total budget, which is it's a healthy fund balance. There's definitely discussions of how much is too much fund balance, but 17.5 is probably dead on to exactly where we should strive to be, I would think. This year, though, we are looking at an anticipated fiscal year deficit. Hard to tell right now, but we're looking to $300,000 to $400,000. If you asked me a couple of months ago, it was going to be more than that. I do hope it's less than that, but I would kind of ballpark it being right in that range right there. So we are going to take a hit in fund balance. Again, though, this budget, no fund balance has been proposed to be appropriated. So the remaining schedule tonight, the public hearing is open. Any board comments, public comments? Public hearing per New York State law needs to be closed on April 20th. I don't know why. I don't know why it's set up like that, but that is. So either the board decides to close it tonight or schedule a special meeting to close it. The board had a work session prior to this. There's another one scheduled for Saturday, April 24th at 8:30, and then special budget adoption meeting at Monday, April 26th. And before I kind of wrap up, I just have to say, thank you. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to department heads. Thank you to everybody in this building. It has been an extremely difficult year. It's been a challenging year, I think, probably for everybody that I'm looking at, and just personally and professionally. But the staff, the department heads did an amazing job, extra vigilant on reducing expenditures and maintaining fiscal discipline, working under very difficult and unknown circumstances. And I said this past year has been difficult, but we look ahead with hope to the next, and that's where we are with this budget. So we do hope that maybe we get some good feedback on it, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Thank you, David. If there's anyone in the room, I do feel very loud. If there's anyone in the room that would like to ask questions or make comments, you can now. Anyone on Zoom that would like to make a comment, ask a question, voice a concern, you may do so now. You have to unmute, I assume. Anyone, David? Looked like they want to. Okay. No? Anyone on the board?
David, I just wanted to ask if we knew if the American Rescue Act funds were going to come directly to us, or I had heard some talk that they were going to have to come through Eastchester.
I know that's been out there. I've heard that it's coming directly from New York State to the municipality directly. Even though what they provided was only how much a town gets and not the individual villages, but from what I'm hearing is that it will come directly from New York State.
Anyone else on the board have a question, a comment? Well, I also want to echo David's sentiments, thanking all of the village department heads and all of the staff who really buckled down this year. And as we've been meeting, discussing the budget, it seems that everybody was really vigilant when it came to spending. So thank you all for that. Unless there are any other comments from the board, I'd ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor, and I'll just reiterate again that your comments, questions, concerns can still be voiced. You can email any one of us. You can email the village administrator and provide us with feedback at any time. Next up is the adoption of the minutes, approving the minutes of the March 8th, 2021 meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. And you have the first opportunity to address the board on any agenda items. If there's anyone in the room who would like to address the board on any agenda items. Uh-huh. Okay. You can go back. Are they trying to unmute?
Everybody been let in from the waiting room, David? You could also type things in chat.
Yep, and you can ask for them. So if you are trying to speak and you can't seem to be heard, can you please type in the chat bar? And David, the village administrator, will ask your question or make your statement. Yes. Go ahead, Carrie. Oh, boy. Hey, we'll make it work.
I wanted to be at your reorg meeting, and I just wanted to congratulate you and congratulate you and your colleagues on the board. You guys are going to do a fantastic job. I just wanted to let you know that, you have such a great, fantastic pool of talented department heads and staff, and they're going to help you get through some pretty tough times you have ahead with your budget that I was just listening to. And I tell David all the time, I count the cars as that are sitting in the parking lot, and that's a huge hit to the village's budget. So it's going to be challenging, but you know what? I look at the five of you up there, and you're up to the task. You're going to do a fantastic job. The village is in great hands. So I just wanted to give you congratulations and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, I'll get off now. Thank you, Gary.
We offer that service for a small fee.
That's
Thank you, Mayor.
And anything you guys need, anything at all, just give a call or send me an email. More than happy to help any way I can.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Are we going to have to go to Zoom school, David? So is anyone else trying to make a comment or address the board on any agenda items? Okay. We can always go back. So we have a few resolutions tonight. The first resolution is authorizing the mayor to execute an IMA intermunicipal agreement with the County of Westchester to provide a youth officer program. This program helps defray some of the costs of the DARE program that the police department sponsors, and the grant gives us $2,375. May I have a motion authorizing this IMA?
So moved. Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. The next resolution is authorizing the mayor to execute an IMA with the County of Westchester for continued use of the Westchester County Repository for Integrated Criminalistic Information. And I think maybe the chief can speak about this a little bit later on. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. The next resolution is authorizing. Hello? Pick it up. Say hello.
Village Hall. Goodness.
Tuckahoe Village Hall.
We're in the middle of a meeting.
Can't make it up.
This is our first meeting.
This is the kind of entertainment we'll provide.
You will always be entertained. Please come to the meetings. So the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a police mutual aid agreement with the town of Eastchester and the village of Pelham. Participating agencies are, why you might ask, the town of Eastchester and the village of Pelham, those are the agencies that have certified SWAT team members and allows for the submission of various counterterrorism grants. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor?
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. The next resolution authorizing setting a public hearing for April 26 to consider a proposed local law repealing local law number 2 of 2020, which authorized a fiscal year ending 2022 budget to exceed the New York State cap. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor?
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. Haven't figured it out yet? Okay. The next resolution authorizing a stipulation of agreement with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 456, regarding bargaining unit work. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor?
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. And just to let everyone know what this is about, the union and the village have an agreement that the repair of catch basins is exclusive work of the bargaining unit. And so there's a stipulation that the bargaining unit would be the ones to repair catch basins unless they are not able to, and that there would be no layoffs of employees if we should use a private contractor to repair the catch basins. Did I get that right, David? May I have a motion proclaiming, did we vote on that? Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
I'll get that one day. May I have may I have a motion proclaiming April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day in the village of Tuckahoe? We, just before we make the motion, we declare Arbor Day on April 30th in order to maintain our membership as a Tree City USA member. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor?
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. And may I have a motion authorizing the approval of vouchers in the amount of $327,862, $327,862.82.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lang.
In favor?
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Taylor.
In favor?
Trustee Cronin.
In favor.
Mayor Andino.
In favor. And that'll be all for our resolutions. We do have some discussion items that we would like the residents' input. The first one being the potential community development block grant applications. We do have a block grant application that we've received recently for some upgrades to our Main Street Park. But we are also asking for the residents to give some ideas of block grants that you might want us to apply for, if you have any thoughts or any suggestions, and the board is also welcome to weigh in here. Let's start first with the residents, if we could get anybody sound working. David, does it look like anyone would like to offer some input? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, anybody have any suggestions? And you don't have to have them tonight, if you could think about it. There are any upgrades in the village that you see are needed that you would like to recommend? Please feel free to email the board. You can go to tuckahoe.com and look up our email addresses. You can email or call the Village Hall and ask for David Burke, our village administrator. Yep, go right in.
Someone in the chat just talked about the park on Union Place, and I know that's come up,
It's on our-
came up a bunch of times. Just to let everyone know that we can apply for up to $1 million in projects for the 22 through 24. So it's a 3-year cycle, 22 through 2024. We can do 4 projects. What we want to do is probably break up those into smaller projects. They don't give communities $1 million. They give communities smaller amounts. So again, I know that the park has been addressed a bunch of times, and then it'll be things like sidewalk repairs or sewer system repairs, things that benefit the infrastructure of the community. So we definitely want to hear from people. I know that again the park was
And that is on our radar.
And then someone asked, is the deadline for idea submissions? I would say ASAP. We need the idea submissions, and we need to figure out what we're going to do by
Yeah.
June, or even prior to June, because the application is due. I think it's June 1st. It's in my notes somewhere. But so any ideas? Yes, please email them. Please email them to myself, the board, or anyone. Kind of ASAP.
Okay, we'll let the public know at some point what the deadline would be, since we have to apply. Are there any thoughts from the board? The second discussion item, were you gonna say something? The second discussion item is regarding the formation of the Historical Preservation Task Force. There has been a lot of discussion. I've gotten a lot of emails from people asking, is the Ward House on our radar? For those who may not be aware, Concordia College is going to be taken over by Iona, and so the Ward House that was owned by Concordia is now in question, and people are concerned that that's a property that's in jeopardy. So we are we're looking to form a task force that's going to look at all of the historic sites or historic landmarks in Tuckahoe and in the surrounding areas to talk about legislation to protect those sites, and also to identify which sites those are. So if you are interested in joining that task force, we do have some people who've expressed interest already, but if you are interested in participating and you have a specific skill set that you think would help us, we ask that you please help your village, come forward, contact us and let us know. If there's any discussion on the board, I know Deputy Mayor Howell visited the Ward House, so maybe she could talk a little bit about that.
Sure, I put that on my
Your report.
running route this weekend, and I didn't know actually the significance of that house. I understood it was somebody who was connected to the Revolutionary War, but if you actually go to the National Park Service or just Google Stephen Ward, he'll come up as part of a paper on the National Park site, and they describe his role in the Revolutionary War. He was an early patriot. There's writings of Alexander Hamilton, which reference his house on White Plains Road, which was apparently a landmark that they used when they were, talking about moving troops to different places. So, and he was a state senator. So, I came away from reading everything and looking at the property, which is really in pretty good shape and is spectacular, thinking that this should probably be something that gets put on the National Register of Historic Places. So
Wasn't he also the town supervisor?
he
of
was
Eastchester?
he was for many years a town supervisor of Eastchester.
Any other comments on the formation of this task force? Any questions?
One other thing that we should mention is that we have nothing on the books to protect anything historic in this village, and there are a lot of things that we should be looking at. So the first step would be to get this task force and have them make a suggestion of some immediacy for us to protect those
Yeah.
sites around the village.
Yeah, I think you was saying that we might involve Bronxville and Eastchester too. Okay.
Yeah. The next, yes. All right, I'm gonna call him. That's what we do around here.
Decline. Oh, I declined that.
Tell Chris, pick up the phone, Chris.
Okay, work better?
Can you mute your phone?
Better?
Yeah, we got you.
Got you.
Okay, I'm unclear of why, I heard that Iona is taking over Concordia. Why is the Ward House then in danger if Iona is just taking over Concordia?
I guess it's in danger because if it's sold and it's not protected, they could potentially take it down.
I think we just don't know.
We don't know. It's
So
just-
there's been no discussion to Iona to tell them about the historical significance of that property.
So David, maybe you could speak to your conversations. The village administrator has been in talks with the school.
Yeah, so we do know within talks with the school is that Iona is not taking over the private residence or the private properties. They're just taking over the actual campus building. So there's around 12 properties that Iona is not going to take over. So Concordia is looking to either sell those or sell them basically. We just don't know when that's going to be, but that's the reason why. So Iona's not going to take over those properties.
Now, is Concordia going to be like an Iona campus, or is it going to be Iona's doing something else with that property? What specifically is Iona doing with Concordia?
It seems that they are taking over as a school. They're
As
gonna,
a school, okay,
You'll be seeing it on healthcare, actually, that campus.
okay. That's the first I've heard of it, so thank you for that edification.
Any other questions? Okay, so the next item for discussion is regarding New York's marijuana legalization. We do not have a lot of information at this time, but some board members will be attending a webinar on April 15th to get more information. But for now, we know that on March 31st, the governor signed into law the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act. And there are two parts to this act. The first part is regarding legalizing possession and use. The second part refers to the actual sale and of adult use, which will be heavily regulated. Local municipalities will have some say in terms of how the legislation will work, including opting out of retail sale. So right now, we do not have a lot of information. And so we just want to put it out there so that the residents are aware that this is something that the board will be looking at and talking about. And we will be asking for your input when we have more information. If there's anybody on the board who would like to comment on this, feel free.
Mayor, just to say that we have till December 31st this year to make a decision about opting out. So we have time.
And we will be looking for the residents' input. We are not sure financially how this would impact us if we, let's say, we agreed to opt in. So we just wanted to make everyone aware that this legislation was passed, and we can talk more about it as we get more information. So we'll have more information after the 15th of April. If there's anyone on Zoom or in the room that would like to comment on this, you may do so now. Nobody? Okay. So next we'll go to the departmental reports. So we'll start with Chief.
Thank you. So can you hear me? So this week actually marks my 18th year coming to this podium as Chief of Police. And unlike your four previous mayors, I started my remarks saying, "Good evening, Mr. Mayor." This evening, I would like to start my remarks by saying, "Good evening, Madam Mayor."
Thank you, Chief.
Congratulations on your
Thank you.
historic.
You got dressed up for me.
appointment.
I see.
I did. I broke out the suit that's been in
like
storage since COVID began.
I like it. I like it.
Unfortunately, it's a little tight, though, from a year ago. So congratulations,
Thank you.
Madam Mayor. Congratulations to Madam Deputy Mayor on your reelection. Congratulations to Darrell Taylor, trustee, on your election, and Kara Cronin on your appointment. And with trustee Danny Lang, I look forward to working with all of you. Just to follow up on the IMA that the village board approved tonight in reference to the Ricky system, that is a repository for electronic fingerprinting and criminal history checks. So it goes through the county police is the hub, and we get the information through that hub. The conduit is through the Ricky system. So hopefully that explains to you and the residents what that intermunicipal agreement was all about. I'd just like to also announce that today we had our first part of our in-service training for the year. It's a multitude of different topics, but this year, for the very first time, we had the opportunity given to us by Lily Newman, who is from St. Vincent's Hospital and associated with Maxwell Institute. She had asked me several weeks ago if I would participate in a program called Leave Behind. And what that is when we can identify people who are at risk for opioid overdoses, that we can leave a naloxone or Narcan, as it's commonly known as, kit behind to a family member or friend, responsible person who would be able to administer Narcan in the event that somebody is suspected of overdosing. It would save precious time in saving lives. All of our officers are trained in the administering of Narcan. However, those few moments between the time that a family or friend could recognize somebody in distress overdosing on an opioid and the time that the police arrive could be the difference between life and death. So I believe we are the first in Westchester County, police-wise, to administer this program, and one of only a handful in all of New York State. Lily is very excited about our participation in this program. I've actually arranged for her to speak at our next Westchester County Chiefs of Police Association meeting to try to get some other police chiefs on board. So it's a great program. I'm proud that we are one of the first, and I'm really happy to be a part of this program. And it's very special thanks to Lily Newman for bringing this to our attention. We also had some, I want to thank the Bronxville Police Department, Chief Chris Satriali and Sergeant Nick DeYoung. We had de-escalation training for half of our members of our department last week, participating with Bronxville Police. A 2-day program of de-escalation. The second half will go next week. It was a great opportunity, training to share our training skills and to expose all our members. You know, we've participated in de-escalation training on the county level as part of their in-service training. We've participated even in our own, yearly training. However, to devote nearly 2 full days to this topic was invaluable, particularly in this time in our society. So thank you to the Bronxville Police Department, for my instructors, Sergeant Chris Santiago particularly, for participating in teaching the program, and to all of our members who took the training very seriously. And then finally, in speaking of training, we have done some upgrades to our use of force simulator downstairs. We are awaiting training goggles that will enable people from our department who are participating in use of force, and again, a big component of that is de-escalation, to view things in 3D. So there could be, props put in front of them, police cars, people from the public approaching them as they're trying to engage somebody in in a situation where force may be used. So it is a huge improvement to an incredible system already. And I'm really happy to report that that program and that process will be beginning very shortly. We're just waiting for the equipment to be delivered. And that's all I have this evening, unless there's any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have one. Do you happen to know if there are programs for the Narcan training for the residents?
So I don't know off the top of my head, but I will find out for you. In fact, I apologize. I did see something on the website that I believe St. Vincent's provides, that they offer it. I could go to their website and I'll get that information to you for sure. But I think, if I remember correctly, it's like once a month on a Thursday evening, they do provide training to residents.
All right, thank you.
And just so you know, when as part of the Leave Behind program, when we do leave the kit behind, we will provide training to the person receiving the kit.
All right.
That's great.
So EMS clearly is trained at a higher level. So, you know, we are able to give the nasal application to Narcan. They are, you know, they're paramedics, EMTs that are able to give injections and at a much higher level.
Can I ask a question? How do you identify residents that might need this?
So it's really, you know, our experience is that when we see somebody who we believe has had an addiction for a long time, and you know, one of the good things about a small community like ours is that usually it's easy to identify because of past experiences with a particular person. But even just aside from that, having conversations with family members and the person who may be in distress from opioid abuse, you know, our officers have been trained to try to identify those people.
So if somebody knew that this was an issue for somebody in their family, could they reach out to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No other questions? Trustee Lang? Okay.
Sorry.
Stole it.
I have another question. You mentioned the 3D goggles. Is that like virtual reality that they're using to train with?
It is. So right now, so the system we have now is basically a big screen, and it's controlled by a use of force trainer who controls the scenario. So he could either amp it up, where the police officer can use force, or he could, you know, tone it down so that we're training the officers to de-escalate. The 3D version now, the use of the goggles now, again, it's pretty incredible and pretty hard to describe, but the officer's actually seeing a police car, a garbage can, a bystander approaching him from the side and trying to distract or engage or interrupt the conversation they may be having with the subject that they're trying to subdue. So, you know, right now we're looking at a screen, and it's pretty much a video game on steroids.
Wow.
Now, having the virtual aspect of it and the 3D, and again, the trainer is now, you know, controlling it, what the bystander is doing, if the car is moving, if the person, you know, that they're trying to engage, you know, what level of resistance is being shown.
Wow. If you weren't already, you are now the envy of every 8-year-old in the village.
So one of the things that, I mean, on a side note, in the past, during our open houses, that we've asked for people to participate in the use of force simulator. So now, now we could maybe close the village budget by charging a quarter for somebody. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
All right,
Chief.
thank you.
Frank? Superintendent of DPW. I think we'll practice saying who people are, because I'll get calls later saying, who is that person, as people are getting more engaged.
Good evening once again. Well, I just want to give everybody a summary of what DPW is doing this time of the year. Definitely not snow removal, so it's cleaning up all the winter mess that was left behind, you know, potholes, clearing and cleaning playgrounds and equipment, sterilizing equipment, you know, preparing the plants and shrubs and trees. And we're also preparing and planning for future paving, which should take place within a couple of months. So that's something David and I would work on as well with the board, any recommendations that you might have. But I've also been working with Susan Chiamara, David, the Beautification Committee, and a private funding source in organizing and completing projects throughout the village. Most notable projects that have been taking place are the brick facing of the community center, library, also paver walkways in various locations, especially at the community center and library. There's a reading garden being built where the overpass used to be over MTA, and that's a joint donation. I just want to mention that too, that there's also a joint donation with that as well, with the Westchester Audubon Society, with Jeff Zuckerman and Claire Gorman, who've been instrumental in moving that forward. Other projects like in Village Hall, the fence at the rear parking lot, the fence in front of the building, the stone facade had been restored. We also have stone planters that were built out here, which will also have a seat, a concrete seat that will be placed in between the two planters. Benches, receptacles, planters throughout the village. There are many more projects in its conceptual stages right now. And that's really it. We're just moving slowly. And there's a lot getting done. So people are asking me how we're doing all this work without having funding, but there is a private funding source that is helping us with all this.
Any questions from the board?
The library side garden is coming along very nicely.
Yeah,
I
it
saw the
really
bricks
is.
went down. Yep.
It's almost completed.
Thank you,
Any
Frank.
questions?
Any other questions? Thank you, Frank.
Okay.
Thank you.
Swadish on Zoom?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Vino. Congratulations, and also Deputy Mayor Howell, Trustee Taylor, and Trustee Cronin, and Trustee Lang. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And I just want to give you a little up-to-date information what's going on at the library. So we have increased our window pickup hours by opening on Saturday, 10:30 to 1:30. And we have a lot of different programs we are all doing on the Zoom. We have for children, kids craft program, Very Hungry Caterpillar, which is going to be on Thursday, April 15 at 4 p.m. for ages 3 to 10. And for Earth Day celebration, we are doing a special story time, Friday, April 16 at 11 a.m. And also to celebrate Earth Day, the Blue Planet, Thursday on April 22nd at 4 p.m. for ages 6 to 11. And as you know, we have always have program for children's story time on Tuesdays for babies and Fridays for children 2 to 5 years old. And we have yoga for kids also, which is on Wednesday, April 14 for pre-K ages 2 to 5 at 11 a.m. and kids ages 6 to 10 at 4 p.m. Through the community fund grant, we have all this program. Also, my kids art class with Mike Teacher, which is going to be on Tuesday, April 20th at 4:30 for ages 7 to 10. And we have a special program for tweens and teens. We are doing Minecraft Builder Club, which is for ages 9 to 17. This program is going for 3 weeks. We had one program today, and it's going to be on Monday, April 19 and 26. And then we have chess for the children, grades K to 12 on Thursday, April 21st at 4 p.m. As you know, the teenager always likes food. So we are offering an online teen cooking class, Fiesta Time, for ages 11 and up on Wednesday, April 28th at 4 p.m. And for adults, we also have different program. We are offering a lot of Zoom classes, online computer, how to download ebooks. It's going to be on April 19 at 3:30 p.m. Also, we have a Tibetan sound healing which is Tuesday, April 13 at 4 p.m. Then we have on April 26, Monday at 7 p.m., The Beatles, 50 Years Later with Barry Weissenfeld. And we have Classic Book Club, Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, which is Friday, April 30th at 2 p.m. And the books are available at the library. And we have also adult recurring program is online gentle chair yoga, which is every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. And we have online Tai Chi class, which is on Tuesday at 9 a.m. on April 20th. Virtual meditation every Wednesday at 12. We have April 14, 21st, and 28th. This is some of the glimpse of our upcoming events. And you can check also on our website. If you are interested in any program, you can sign up. If you have any question, give us a call or you can email anytime.
Thank you. Thank you, Swadesh.
Thank you.
Camille, do you have anything? Gary? David? You did your... Okay. Miscellaneous business, we have a board work session on Saturday, April 17th at 8:30 a.m., as well as a budget work session on Saturday, April 24th at 8:30 a.m., and the public is invited and welcome. Our next village board meetings will be on Monday, April 26th, where we'll have the budget adoption meeting, as well as our regular meeting in May on May 10th at 7 p.m., and I would like to see a lot more involvement with the residents. So we'll now go to our Board of Trustees member reports, and we'll start with Trustee Lang.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, so first, John Galuzzi asks that we relay this important information. There will be, the company Lifeline Screening will be conducting cardiovascular type screenings at our Tuckahoe Community Center on April 16th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pre-registration is required. The phone number is 1-888-653-6450. There is a cost associated, and perhaps you would like to consult your physician beforehand. Any questions, you can go to www.lifelinescreenings.com. So that's John. I would like to recognize the passing of Rhonda Morris, also known as Rhonda Creighton. Rhonda passed away on March 26th. She was a resident of 4 Union Place and one of the long line of Creightons that have grown up and lived in the village since the 1930s. Rhonda had 9 brothers and sisters, some who are no longer with us. She is survived by her brothers Barry, Norman, and sisters June, Lynn, and Diane. Rhonda also volunteered at the ECAP on 2 occasions during her lifetime. Our prayers are with the Creighton family. Sadly, we have another passing I just wanted to mention. On April the 2nd, we lost another resident and longtime volunteer, Denzel Francis. Denzel and his wife Drusella reside at the consulate. For many years, he volunteered as a treasurer for the senior center, and he was a wonderful man with a wonderful sense of humor. He also will be very missed. And lastly, I would just like to thank the Youth Community Fund for their cleanup efforts down at the Parkway Oval Trail. So thank you to all of those young people. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Deputy Mayor Howell.
Sorry. And I'm super excited about the $250,000 for the parks. So thank you.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Thank you, Mayor. So this month we had a historic education budget passed, so I just wanted to take a minute to recognize that and to thank all of the parents, the school administration, and the school boards who, their advocacy really meant a lot this year. And the budget that was passed meant $29.5 billion in school aid. It was really a historic budget. It included 3 things that we had asked for as a community. One was that Tuckahoe and Eastchester had been funded below 50% of foundation aid for over a decade. And so on this first year, everyone who was in that kind of a place is now guaranteed 60% foundation aid. And then the second thing is with a 3-year phase-in to 100% commitment. So I don't believe the state has, maybe there was 1 year when everybody was given 100% of their aid, but there's a 3-year phase-in for that. Another thing we were worried about was that the funds that were coming to the schools from the American Rescue Act would go through the state and maybe be used to offset some of the costs the state would pay. And so now those are going to come directly through, as they should, because they were really to cover the enormous costs that the schools had to bear to cover COVID. So that was it was a very exciting budget. I think the schools are really excited about it. And of course, this wouldn't have gotten done without our legislators, our local legislators, Shelley Mayer and Amy Paulin, and were there and fought, very hard for this. So a debt of thanks to them. So coming up next in the world of schools, we're in New York. We like elections. We have them often. So school board elections will be coming up in the month of May. So that means this month the schools will be looking at budget and looking at the people who are running for school board. On May 10th, the Eastchester PTA Council will have a program where the superintendent will again present the budget. It's already been presented at the school board meetings, but it's another opportunity for parents to ask questions. And they will also be hosting a Meet the Candidate night for all the people who are running for the school board. There are 3 seats open. In Tuckahoe, there will be a budget adoption meeting on April 20th and a public hearing on May 10th. Both school districts have their elections on May 18th. For Tuckahoe, anybody interested in running for the school board, petitions will be accepted up until April 19th. And then Eastchester has put out a call for any individuals who are interested in being on their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force to get to the school superintendent by April 19th. And we'll also post the link to that on our Facebook pages so folks can get to that immediately. And planning and zoning's a little slow this month, but there's some things coming in the future, so we'll be talking about that next month. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Taylor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Trustee Lang, for recognizing Rhonda Creighton. That was my cousin, and anybody that knew Rhonda knew she was an awesome individual with a great spirit, and she will be missed. And then I would just like to let our residents know that we look forward to their participation in our meetings and on our committees. We know that there has been a decline in interest in our local government, and we just want everyone to feel like their cares and concerns matter. Some of you may be aware I'm also on the ECAP board, which is the Eastchester Community Action Program. And just a little about what's going on with ECAP. They have 2 classes starting on the 15th of this month. The first is the TASK GED class, which is a high school equivalency course and exam. The second is an ESL, which is English as a second language. Both of them start on the 15th. Then on the 19th and 20th, there is a security guard training course. And then on May 1st, there is a financial literacy workshop. For more information on these courses and classes, you can call ECAP at 914-337-7768. And if any of the residents need to reach me, you can reach me on my trustee email on the village website. And last, I'd like to thank David Burke, Chief Costanzo, Frank DeMarco, Gary Gertson, and Ryan Ueda for all of their help with the village budget. They made it easy for us to understand, and it was a pleasure working with all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Taylor. Trustee Cronin?
Thank you, Mayor Andino. I'd like to echo the sentiments about thanking the village administration and all the department heads. This has been a very easy transition for us, and we very much appreciate it. I want to thank all the residents at home who have joined us this evening, and I hope that everyone is healthy and safe. I know that many of you are still getting to know me and that you may not know much about my background, although I have worked in the field of education, and I just want to reiterate that I have never in my 20 years in public education seen a education budget that looks like the one that has just been passed. As Trustee Howell had mentioned, this is going to be profoundly useful for our students and our children, and really important as they get back to school full-time. I want to congratulate the Eastchester Public Schools for returning to full-time in-person learning this week. I know it is long-awaited and very needed for many students. Going back to what I was saying, so although my background is in education, my PhD is in a field called urban systems, which looks at the intersection of housing, planning, public health, and schools. And a lot of my training has actually been focused in housing in suburban and urban communities. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend the Westchester Affordable Housing Seminar, which was presented by Sustainable Portchester Alliance. It's a 3-part series for policymakers and advocates looking to see what can really be done about what can only be described as a housing crunch in Westchester County. Some interesting takeaways that I got from this is there are about 70,000 households in Westchester County. To make that clearer, it's about 250,000 people, or about a quarter of Westchester County, who are considered housing burdened, meaning that they're paying more than a third of their income in housing costs, rent or mortgage. About half of those people are severely housing burdened or under housing stress, which means that they are paying upwards of 50% of their income in housing costs. So also interesting, and this really kind of blew my mind, was looking at, they did a breakdown of the housing market right now in real time. So currently the median single-family home in Westchester County, so this does not include co-ops or condos, is about $710,000. A family would have to earn approximately $230,000 to be able to purchase this home. That would also mean that at the bare minimum of 5% down with closing costs and fees, this family would have to put down at least $78,000, have $78,000 in cash in hand. At the present moment, the average home-owning family in Westchester County makes about $127,000, and that family could really only realistically purchase a home for about $390,000. There are currently 1,200 single-family units listed in the county right now, but only 34 of those, not 34%, 34 of those are $390,000 or less. I did a little research on them. Half of those need a significant amount of work. So that's less than 3% of the housing stock that is available right now is attainable for the average family in Westchester County. So why does this matter? Obviously, there's a real shortage of housing that is affordable for young families, for seniors, for people with disabilities, for working class families, which really is so many of us. It's our neighbors, it's our loved ones, it's our family members. I've been talking to a lot of residents in the last couple of weeks, and many have expressed the desire to have their children come back to Tuckahoe and the surrounding areas to live here, to live nearby, but right now that's not necessarily possible. But I will say that there is some good news. I did a little bit of a search about affordability, and I found in Westchester Magazine that Tuckahoe is actually listed as one of the 10 most affordable municipalities in Westchester County. One of the things that makes that so is that we have a large stock of condos and co-ops and rental properties that are actually attainable and affordable for some young families. So, you know, it's an important thing for us to look at as we move forward, as we look at strategic planning over the next couple of months. You know, we need to focus on how we can keep Tuckahoe attainable as an attainable place for young families and lots of other people to live. So that was my report.
Thank you. That's enlightening information. I first, just to close us out, would like to thank everyone who sent me emails, messages through social media, who called me to congratulate me. I appreciate your congratulatory remarks. The board will be working on a 100-day plan along with our village administrator, and we'll share that plan with you. We're talking about some of the things that we'd like to accomplish in the first 100 days and beyond, and so we will keep you apprised of that. There was a question about Kara's appointment to the board. So some people called and asked, well, she wasn't voted in, how did she wind up on the board? So just to explain to people, I was elected last year for a 2-year term to the trustee, role. Because I became the mayor, there's a gap from this year to next year in that seat. So as the mayor, I am allowed to appoint someone to that role. And so as you just heard, to Kara Cronin's report, you heard why I appointed her. So I just wanted for people to understand that I appointed her because my term was not up. And since I took on the new role of mayor, we had to fill that seat until March of 2022, at which time either Kara runs to be reelected or someone else runs to be elected in that seat. I just wanted to clarify that for some people who had question marks. I also wanted to let everyone know that I will have office hours on Wednesdays from 3 to 6 p.m. I will be in Village Hall, and you're welcome to come stop by. You can call and set up an appointment if you'd like. And during that time that I'm here, I will have a Zoom meeting between 5 and 6 for anyone who's not comfortable coming in. And so you could hear possibly at some points from village staff and department heads. So that's Wednesdays, 3 to 6 p.m. with 5 to 6 being the hour that I'll be on Zoom. So you'll have access to me. I also want to make you aware of music classes that are going to be available to people who want their children to possibly take classes but can't afford them. There will be free or discounted classes at Sonus Music Studio. I've been wanting to take piano lessons for a long time, about 10 years, and just decided to go ahead and do it. And I'm getting lessons at Sonus Music Studio. And of course I asked, well, what can you do to help the village? And I am grateful that they said, we would like to do some free classes. I know that the owners have already contacted ECAP. And so one of the things that I'm asking village residents, if you're able, if you have instruments that you would like to donate for those students so that they can take home to practice, we're asking that you contact Sonus Studios. I think you can contact them on Facebook or just look them up and reach out to them. If you can donate some instruments, or if you'd like to donate the funds for them to buy instruments, I'm hoping if Sonus is listening that maybe we could get enough students to join me in a recital at Deputy Mayor Howell's request. Let's see how that works out. So thank you to Sonus Music Studios for extending yourself to the village. Let's see here. I also want to extend my condolences as well to the Morris Creighton family, as well as the Denzel Francis's family for your loss, and to Trustee Taylor. We have a vaccine clinic. I think it just ended. They texted me and said we're all done. We've had a couple of vaccine clinics in the village. So I just want to thank the 2 pharmacies that assisted us and, didn't count it robbery, as the Baptists say, to come here and offer that service. Allure Specialty Pharmacy, as well as Cedric Pharmacy, who came here and were very gracious and kind to our seniors. So thank them for that. We are looking to have some more vaccine clinics. I was contacted by the county to ask if we would like some more, and I said, heck yeah, we want some more vaccine clinics. So if we can work something out with the county, we will. If not, I'm going to try to reach back out to the same pharmacies who've helped us. We've got a lot of emails and phone calls, people asking, can we have the clinics again? So I'm working on that as well. Let's see here. So we've been talking about the budget and some new streams of revenue that we're trying to conjure up over here. And so I got a call from actor Barry Bradford, who saw that I won in Tuckahoe, and he was excited for me, not sure why. And he said that he was interested in maybe some filming in Tuckahoe, and so David and I have been talking about advertising and branding ourselves a little bit better, because we've had a lot of filming happening in Tuckahoe, and so we're going to work on putting on the website the films that have been done in Tuckahoe, which are a pretty good bunch. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on as we move forward in the coming months. I also want to address a couple of what I guess I'd call rumors. Since I was elected, I got a call from a restaurant saying that they'd like a meeting with me, and they asked me if I, in fact, was intending to require the restaurants to give residents in the at Washington, Jefferson, Midland, and Union, specifically the black residents, let me be clear, discounts, that I was going to mandate that all the restaurants give 50% discounts to those residents. So I wanted to make sure that as I said before, I want transparency, and I'm going to come to the board meetings and tell you what the truth is. And if you have questions, you feel free to ask me. That is not true. I've never said that. I can't mandate any restaurant to give any discounts. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. First I would like to ask, those who are spreading blatant lies to please stop. We want to move forward in the village. We want to accomplish a lot of things, and we can do it together. And I really, would like for us to be able to do that. And these kinds of comments really hinder that progress and hinder the unity that we're trying to achieve. The other thing is that I'm really glad that the restaurant owner felt comfortable enough to call me and ask me to come in and talk with him, and to ask me the question. So I would like to ask that all business owners, if you hear anything that sounds like it's not quite right, to feel free to contact me. Come in on Wednesdays. I'm here. If you need to talk to me before my office hours, reach out to me, and I will always tell you the truth. That's one thing, Tuckahoe, you can count on me. I will tell you the truth. So just want to let you know about that. The other rumor is that taxes will be going up because I specifically want affordable housing, which is also not true. Affordable housing does not equal increase in taxes to the residents. And we're going to be getting more information about affordable housing, and I've asked Trustee Cronin to take this on as it's part of the specialty that she's interested in. But I also want to make sure that people know taxes going up being correlated to affordable housing is not true. Okay, so those are the two rumors for this week. We'll see what happens next month. But I just wanted to set that record straight. And I think that's it for me. If there's anything else from the board, anybody, any final thoughts? No? So, Chief?
I just had a chance to look up Trustee Taylor's request.
Good.
There's training offered by Maxwell Institute for Narcan the third Thursday of every month, and it's virtual.
Oh,
So just sign up through their website.
very cool. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
David, you have some remarks?
There was just a couple of messages.
Okay.
I just wanted to kind of report on as more people are actually coming on.
Yes, so the second opportunity to address the board.
Obviously, anyone
now.
can address the board, but I'm just going to read some of the messages. One
Okay.
was thanking Trustee Cronin for the report on affordable housing, and it was a question about Concordia selling properties. Is it possible to acquire that land and designate those affordable housing? Obviously, that's a very interesting question. Just so I think everyone knows, I know the board knows, is that the Village of Tuckahoe does not build affordable housing. We do not buy and purchase it, but we can partner with the county and kind of be a conduit with the county to assist them in identifying properties. So that's something that's very interesting that we can bring it up to the county as they look into
Yeah.
look into that. One was thanking the mayor for an Instagram account, the Instagram mayor. They're apparently enjoying that. info@sonusmusic.com or 337-0909.
Oh, Sonus Music is on.
He is on, and someone has already donated a half-size guitar, Julie Gurdon. It's working.
Very nice.
And I think that's it for right now. If anyone online wants to say anything, please,
Please unmute.
someone said I had a great speaking voice. I don't know if that was me or you, Mayor.
I think it's you, David. No one else want to address the board? No? Okay. Well, that being said, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
Good night, Tuckahoe.